Push. Come on.
Parallel universes might exist, but why would you ever want to leave your Aussie walled quilt for just $99.99? It's special you can buy at the Aldi Winter Bedding Sale this Wednesday. Aldi, good, different.
Refresh your bedroom at Harvey Norman with great deals on now. Enjoy a bonus cushion or European pillowcase with selected quilt cover set or coverlet sets, like the Alden, just $119 for the queen size, plus bonus cushion. Featuring 5 zones of micro-pocket coil support, the Australian-made Sleepmaker Raphael Queen mattress in 4 feels for $19.99. Make a grand statement with the Australian-made Bellevue Extended 4-drawer Queen bed and choose your stain and fabric to suit your style. More to inspire at Harvey Norman now.
Go! Introducing Manicare's Firming Face and Body Sculptor, featuring LED, EMS and lipo technology for results that are clinically backed. Treat and tone your way to skin you want to be in.
You're faced with choices every single day. Whatever choice you face, we're here to help. Hunter Primary Care.
Let's now take a look back on your time in the experiment.
A night
Loved him. So there's hope.
For sure, yeah.
of unfiltered
I am falling in love with him.
honesty.
Everything out of her mouth is a lie.
The television event of the year.
I don't have anything to say. I want to leave.
Tonight, 7:30 on 9 and 9 now.
You guys have been handpicked to represent Australia, taking on 4 teams from the rest of the world.
Go Aussies!
Imagination and wonder on a global scale.
I did German in Year 9.
You can speak a little bit.
Ja, eine Bitte. Jules, informal goodbye.
Lego Masters starts Sunday at 7 on 9.
Tonight, play fair or pay the price. Big supermarkets to face billion-dollar fines if they rip off customers.
A drug dealer pleads guilty to manslaughter after gunning down a man in Newcastle.
The moment a car thief forced beachgoers on the far north coast to run for their lives.
Exclusive on the road with Raptor North as the Special Police Squad marks a year in operation.
And Kalen Ponga's pitch to the Maroons coach before the Origin series.
This is NBN News with Gavin Morris and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. The nation's supermarkets are being warned to lift their game and lower prices or face billions of dollars in fines.
An interim report wants to see a mandatory code of conduct imposed on giants like Woolworths and Coles to prevent customers and suppliers being ripped off.
Tonight, an interim report into supermarkets promising lower prices or larger fines.
I see this as actually being supportive, not only of the suppliers, but ultimately of shoppers.
The report stating the existing Food and Grocery Code of Conduct is not effective, suggesting a compulsory code with penalties of up to $10 million or 10% of supermarkets' annual turnover, whichever is greatest.
The defining motivation behind this is a fair go for farmers and families. The current voluntary code is too easy to walk away from, and we want to change that. Ruling out so-called divestiture powers, breaking up the major supermarkets and forcing them to sell land holdings.
The supermarkets own 74% of the market. They are the market. They have you over the barrel.
Unless the concentration of market power of Coles and Woolworths is adequately addressed, nothing will change.
While smaller parties want the supermarket split, the Liberal Party is being split by the supermarkets.
It's a good start, but we also think a targeted divestment power is also necessary.
There is always concern with divestiture powers, whether they will actually decrease prices.
We want our businesses to be profitable and successful, and we want them to hire people.
For producers, new minimum standards for supply agreements are recommended, plus protections for farmers who make complaints against supermarkets.
Having the ability to call out bad behaviour without commercial social retribution is really important.
The ultimate test will be whether prices come down. The government keenly aware that groceries are a weekly or sometimes daily reminder of the cost of living battle across Australia. The supermarkets say they are cooperating and the final report will go to the government in June. Charles Croucher, NBN News.
So what's been the response from Australia's big supermarkets? Charles Croucher has more.
Both Coles and Woolies helped write the grocery code, and they both agree making it mandatory will help consumers. But tonight, they want the code expanded. In submissions to the Emerson Review, they argue retailers like Amazon, Bunnings and Chemist Warehouse all sell products found in supermarkets and therefore should fall under the code as well. This isn't currently in the review, but those involved say it could be considered. For now, through the sheer number of complaints and reviews that are already going on, the focus will likely remain on supermarkets.
A drug dealer has admitted to fatally shooting a man at a public housing complex in Newcastle almost 3 years ago. Michael Ray fired a single shot into the chest of Wesley Prentice, the admission coming just as he was about to stand trial for murder.
It was a daytime shooting which sent part of a busy Newcastle street into lockdown.
We've just seen more and more police cars pull up, so we knew something serious has happened.
40-year-old Wesley Prentice gunned down in a Derby Street unit by drug dealer Michael Ray.
A male was found suffering a gunshot wound to the chest. He was laying in the lounge room of that premises.
Ray's fatal encounter with Mr. Prentice in July 2021 came during an argument over a debt. He then fled, accompanied by a woman. Today, the now 38-year-old pleaded guilty to manslaughter in Newcastle Supreme Court at what was meant to be the start of his murder trial. At the time, Ray had been on parole for just 6 months after serving a 3-year jail sentence for stealing 39 guns from a Newcastle storage facility in 2016. Ray was ultimately arrested at Bonny Hills near Port Macquarie 10 days later. He was found with cash and a shortened firearm, which was loaded. He remains in custody following today's plea and will be sentenced in June. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
A well-known Sydney rapper has been arrested at Bar Beach in Newcastle. State Crime Command's Raptor squad travelled up from Sydney to take 25-year-old Darcel Sally Ramos from the Group 1-4 into custody this morning. He's just been charged with using an offensive weapon with intent to commit an indictable offence after allegedly threatening and lunging at a man with a large kitchen knife during an altercation at Cranebrook. The flood clean-up has begun for residents along the banks of the Hawkesbury River, a process they've faced many times before. Locals say they've been abandoned and are fed up with a lack of action from the New South Wales government.
It's all gone.
It's 6 months worth of work. Anything from over $100,000 worth of produce at least, gone.
Richard Spiteri is a third-generation farmer at Wilberforce on the banks of the Hawkesbury River.
I'm going crazy. Well, how much can you take? How much can you take?
He says it's a bitter loss to take, but one that could have been easily avoided if water was released from the almost full Warragamba Dam before the weekend's downpour. He's not the only one thinking the same.
Oh, we lost heaps, it just wiped the corn out. All the cabbages just flattened it.
Farmers took what they could, machinery, vehicles, even their pets, to higher ground away from the water, while those in the nearby town of Richmond were dealing with what it left behind.
At its time. Yeah, and it's about probably a good 45 minutes, hour to go the other way because of the traffic jam.
The debris caught on now bent and buckled guardrails designed to be removed during flood events.
They had plenty of notice to get the rails down. We knew this rain was coming for days before.
I'm absolutely frustrated. At last flood, those barriers had to be replaced, brand new, and they are absolutely decimated again.
It's a responsibility of the state government, led by a premier who the mayor says is missing in action.
He still won't even meet with me, let alone pick up the phone and have a conversation with me about their plans for mitigation.
It's not a simple process reopening the bridge. Engineers have been here across the course of today, making sure that it's structurally okay. Now, the heavy machinery has been called in to help clear all this debris. Debris scattered and washed up on just about every downstream bank, plenty making it all the way to the harbour, where it becomes a hazard. In the Blue Mountains, hazards were pushed aside on a fire trail for a convoy of stranded tourists and campers at Megalong Valley.
There was about 180 stuck down here, I believe, from Friday.
After the only road in and out crumbled away. At Linwood Golf Course in Pitttown Bottoms, greenkeepers were left to tend to the driveway and not the driving range. It's underwater. So too the 18-hole course that'll take 3 months to repair. It'll take about the same time for Richard's farm to recover.
This can be avoided. Change the management of the dam, the infrastructure of the dam.
He's calling that the first step for a community starting out on a long road to recovery. Alex Heinke, NBN News.
3 people were brought safely into Newcastle Harbour late yesterday after their yacht ran out of fuel. Marine Rescue says the vessel was 18 nautical miles southeast of the city when the skipper radioed for assistance. Volunteers shadowed the yacht under sails into the harbour before taking it to a wharf for fuel. Crew members anchored safely overnight before resuming their journey north to Port Stephens.
The Deputy Premier today condemned branch stacking, saying action will be taken against anyone found doing the wrong thing. Her comments came after allegations forced Labor to freeze new party memberships in Newcastle and Wallsend.
The Hunter is Labor heartland, but for the next 6 months, no one can join the party in the Newcastle and Wallsend electorates, a move described by members as something not seen in 3 decades, and comes amid allegations of branch stacking and internal disputes.
From the leadership of the government's perspective, we don't tolerate anyone trying to get around the rules.
The membership freeze was directed by the New South Wales Labor's Administrative Committee after what it cited as member relations over the past 12 to 18 months, reaching a threshold that required action. Last Friday, that committee told party members the decision was prompted by a tripwire when 33 people tried to join the Lambton Katara branch on the 25th of February. Just yesterday, Newcastle's Labor branch moved a motion about the membership freeze, reaffirming its strong opposition to branch stacking, labelling it appalling behaviour that erodes the democratic principles upon which the party was founded.
We will make sure that we will come down on anyone that is trying to get around the rules. We don't tolerate branch stacking at all.
Tony Ambrogetti, NBN News.
Business Hunter is lobbying the Minns government to extend the Aviation Attraction Fund by a further 3 years. The fund, which closed last June, was designed to help draw more airlines to New South Wales airports. Business Hunter says a $15 million investment is needed, with Newcastle's international terminal set to open to travellers next year.
Assist the airport to go out there and attract airlines to actually use the facility at Newcastle, and that's going to be very important to be able to compete with other states of Australia.
The airport says it would match the state government's contribution dollar for dollar.
It's an Anzac service of a different kind, combining theatre and history. And this year, students from across the Tasman have joined colleagues in Newcastle to share a story that embodies the deep connection between our two nations.
It's a service that captures the enduring bond of courage and mateship that is the Anzac spirit.
We think is really, really important in making sure that the Anzac legacy and the stories of these people are being told to the future generations so they don't forget about the sacrifices people made and so that war can be prevented in the future.
In its 68th year, students from New Zealand have joined their Hunter counterparts for the combined high schools event, which will this time share the story of Operation Hermit Park, which took place in 1971 during the Vietnam War, when Tamworth-born Private Philip Barwick's life was saved by Kiwi Private Mike Williams.
I've just not really ever been part of an Anzac project. I've never really gone to Anzac services, so it's just really new to me, and I think it's really great that I get to share people's stories.
More than 3,000 primary students will attend the service at the Civic Theatre tomorrow. The research, script and dramatic portrayals all done by high school students.
I've learnt a lot about different experiences of veterans and wartime, especially the relationship between Australia and New Zealand.
There will also be some extra special guests.
We've been able to find in New Zealand one of the vets, and we're actually bringing him to Newcastle, and he's going to meet the widow of the gentleman that he saved.
Tony Ambrogetti, NBN News.
Some small gifts straight from the heart had a very big impact at Newcastle's Calvary Mater Hospital this morning. Tomaree High students spent 8 weeks creating care packages for oncology patients, an idea sparked by a personal connection.
Who knew a little bag of goodies could mean so much?
Thank you. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Thank you. Absolutely beautiful. Very, very humbled.
At Newcastle's Calvary Mater Hospital, a special delivery put a little magic in Monday morning, with 28 patients gifted some comforting treats during their chemotherapy.
They're so happy to see the kids and see the effort that they've made, and it's a beautiful gesture for them.
The goodie bags were the brainchild of Toby Braun, whose dad received cancer treatment at the hospital.
There were different things that would help my dad, so he loved the soups, the cup soups, and certain teas helped with his stomach. Basically, I took everything that my dad used and I figured out that should be in the care packages, and that's something that would help other people.
Bit by bit, Toby's peers at Tomaree High helped him achieve his goal, sewing, crafting and gifting their way as part of the Big Picture program, which helps students connect with their local community.
Coming here today has just been absolutely phenomenal for them to actually see that it's all gone towards a really good cause.
Inside, teas, soups, hand cream and bracelets, as well as hand-sewn K-pump bags used as part of chemotherapy treatment at home. It's taken the group 2 school terms to hit its goal of 28 bags.
I'm so proud of them. They've done such a great job, and I'm looking forward to see what we do next.
Isabella Revens, NBN News.
After a wild end to last week, it's been a stunning start to this week. A gorgeous yesterday and today, the morning perfect. Temperatures warming beautifully in the afternoon sun, 25 to 27. A light little southerly has feathered in. We'll squeeze out half a good day, but we have a significant cold front expected late tomorrow. Details soon.
Up next, an alleged stalker scare for Andrew Johns, with claims the Knights legend was followed in the surf and near his home.
The addition to AUKUS pact that's sure to anger China.
And $10 million baby, the first foal of Winx smashes records.
Try Hungry Jack's new Bourbon Street Whopper with crispy onion rings and bourbon barbecue sauce. Or fall in love with Bourbon Street Jack's Fried Chicken. New Bourbon Street Jack's Fried Chicken and Whopper. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's. The television event.
Let's take a look back on your time in the experiment.
Of the year. A night.
Loved him. So there's hope.
For sure, yeah.
Of unfiltered.
I am falling in love with him.
Honesty.
Everything out of her mouth is a lie. You are the fakest and weakest woman I've ever met in my life.
And one bright, final, devastating.
I don't have anything to say.
Smackdown.
I want to leave.
The unmissable grand finale event. Tonight, 7:30 on 9 and 9 now.
Australia, the best theme parks in the world are right here on the Gold Coast.
Over 115 world-class rides, slides, shows, characters and attractions, with events and entertainment you'll remember forever. Holiday now for days of action, laughter, and so much fun together at Village Roadshow Theme Parks.
Security on their solar investment. Slash your bills with a flagship 6.6 kilowatt premium solar system with Tier 1 panels, now an incredible $36.91. Boost your solar savings further with up to $1,000 off all home batteries. Limited offers held only till April 30.
Get your energy bills reduced. Call 1300 Sunboost.
It's days like these, rediscovering a new freedom, a new new time for friends and fun. Finding new creative expressions. Living in a luxury home in a luxury world-class resort. The time to look after myself. And finding myself again and again. This is my time at Palm Lake Resort.
Looking for a great deal on your electricity? Switch to Energy Australia today and get 15% less than the reference price. Switch today at energyaustralia.com.au or call us on 133 466.
With this feeling I get when I'm around you, I feel so at home.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared the country is a step away from victory in its war with Hamas. Israeli troops have withdrawn from southern Gaza, signalling a potential turning point.
Rubble where there was once residential buildings. This devastating destruction is what's left of Khan Yunis in Gaza's south. Palestinians are returning as the majority of Israel's troops withdraw from the city to rest and refit. But an invasion of heavily populated Rafah is still planned.
We are a step away from victory. The achievements of the war are great. We eliminated 19 out of 24 Hamas battalions.
Thousands of Israelis disagree. Another impassioned protest, this time in the capital. The crowd's critical of the government, claiming not enough has been done to get the hostages home.
People are waiting for their children, for their parents, for their sisters and their brothers, and our government doesn't seem to care.
Delicate ceasefire discussions have resumed in Egypt. The under-pressure Prime Minister declaring there will be no ceasefire without a hostage deal.
We have made clear there's going to have to be some changes to the way the Israeli Defense Forces are prosecuting these operations in Gaza.
Where the conditions become more dire by the day.
There's piles of waste on the street, and you can see it in people's faces too. They're just hungry and tired, and everyone I speak to just wants to know when this is going to end.
A question the world is asking.
Jessica Millward, NBN News.
Former Defence Force Chief Mark Binskin has been appointed Australia's Special Advisor on Israel's response to an airstrike which killed aid worker Zomi Frankham and 6 of her colleagues. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says what Israel has provided so far isn't enough.
But we would expect that someone of Mr. Binskin's stature, frankly, will be given every cooperation from the Israeli Defence Force and the Israeli government.
2 Israeli Defence Force officers have been dismissed over the incident.
Australia's security pact with its 2 oldest allies will soon have a new partner. Japan is looking to join the AUKUS agreement, a move sure to anger China.
AUKUS is about to become JAUKUS, the three-way defence pact between Australia, the United States and Britain, to be soon joined by Japan, provoked by China's aggression.
There is a unilateral attempt to change the status quo by force.
Though Japan won't take part in the building of nuclear-powered submarines, it'll help AUKUS partners develop high-tech weaponry, quantum computing and electronic warfare. Like-minded nations determined to counter China's assertiveness, a wrestle US President Joe Biden has previously termed
democracies versus autocracies.
Japan brings a science and technology and research and development pedigree which is probably world class.
The deal, which is bound to aggravate Beijing, will be formally announced in the next few hours when Japan's PM Fumio Kishida visits Washington, but it's already receiving bipartisan support.
Japan can contribute to significantly, and we're very lucky to have them as a trusted partner and ally.
We want to make sure that we're using the best technology available.
Even with the AUKUS partnership expanding, it can't possibly match China's military build-up, although the idea is to project collective self-defence, and New Zealand might be next to join.
We've signalled us that we want to explore looking at what the opportunities for New Zealand might be.
But with an NZ and a J to contend with, AUKUS will clearly need a new name. Andrew Probyn, NBN News.
A 28-year-old man has been charged for allegedly stalking rugby league great Andrew Johns. The man was first arrested on March 31, accused of following the Knights legend while surfing in Sydney and later to his home. Just a couple of days on, the man was arrested a second time and charged with breaching his bail conditions. He's due to face court later this week. She was the racehorse that captured the hearts of our nation, but today it was her foal's turn to make racing history. The first offspring of champion Winx sold at auction for a staggering $10 million, smashing the previous record and ensuring she stays on home soil.
A horse with no name, but with a mother everyone knows. And just like the legendary Winx, the filly could pull a crowd.
She is everyone. She's special, really special.
She was preened and polished before being introduced to the racing industry at Warwick Farm, where the heavy hitters have deep pockets.
So we just want someone to turn up with a big checkbook today. We'll be happy.
The bigger the better. Step forward, American private equity tycoon John Stewart.
100% buying the Winx filly.
So you're sticking to your mantra, you're not bidding, you're buying tonight.
I'm buying the horse.
As lot 391 entered the ring, it quickly became clear he had some serious competition.
$3 million at $3 million out. 3.5 million.
Records were suddenly smashed.
7.5 million at 7.5 million. 8 million. $8 million. What do you say, Harry? 9 million.
Before one bidder was left in tears.
At $10 million. At 10 million. Last chance. Done.
The eye-watering price paid by Winx's part owner, Debbie Capitas.
Unfortunately, I couldn't let go of her. I've got Winnie.
So just like Winx did so often on the track, her daughter has made history here in the sales ring today. $10 million, double the previous highest amount ever forked out for a yearling in Australia.
So she has an owner, but still no name or a date when she might make it to the races. In the meantime, Winx is again expecting, and the racing world will be wondering, can Debbie resist?
Pressure on to keep the family together, right?
That's a huge ask. I've just spent $10 million. Look, we've got to get the foal first.
Damien Ryan, NBN News.
A stunning start to the week, fine locally, but two big features this evening, one being Cyclone Olga off the West Australian coast, and the other is the cold front sweeping across the southeast tonight. This is a decent cold front that is going to run up the south coast tomorrow, so we should manage one more warm day just ahead of the change. Top temperatures in the mid to high 20s before cloud increases across the greater Hunter, mid-north coast and northwest, with showers and storms likely to develop as we push into the afternoon-evening period.
Next, a rare insight. We take you on the road with Raptor North as the squad hunts down its latest target.
A young girl's lucky escape as a crane comes crashing to the ground.
And a snake that popped up in a Tamworth piano.
King Delta Coast. Create endless configurations with one sofa. Even a luxurious bed. So why buy ordinary furniture when you can come home to King? Hurry, sale ends soon.
Take a look inside Haagen-Dazs, made en France, where only the best will do. Combining rich cream, luscious buttery caramel with crunchy brittle pieces. Et voila, the ice cream of ice creams.
The television event
Let's take a look back on your time in the experiment.
of the year. A night
Loved him.
So there's hope. For sure, yeah.
of unfiltered
I am falling in love with him.
honesty.
Everything out of her mouth is a lie. You are the fakest and weakest woman I've ever met in my life.
And one bright, final, devastating
I don't have anything to say.
smackdown.
I want to leave.
The unmissable grand finale event. Tonight, 7:30 on 9 and 9 now.
There are oh so many reasons to visit your local Toyota dealer, with Hilux stock available now. Toyota.
Tank World's been rethinking water for over 50 years. Grab your Aussie Tough tank today. Like our best-selling 2, 3 and 5,000 litre slimline tanks. Call us for our best offer. Think Tank World. 1-800 68 69 70.
Anaconda's Easter Madness sale is on now. Up to 50% off camping gear, outdoor clothing, kayaks, bikes and more. Some exclusions apply. Up to 50% off Easter Madness sale on now at Anaconda. Play more and pay less without 10% price beat guarantee. Anaconda!
It's hard to tell pain, but I didn't want to do things. You know, when you've got 3 kids, you want to get out and about all the time. I used to kick a lot, and even now when I kick at training, I come home with a bit of pain. Having no pain, that's vital. For me, the Good Feet store made a big difference. I've been using the arch supports and got no pain at all, so it makes you want to get out and about, and the kids love it because you spend more time with them as well. I'm David Campese, and that's my Good Feet story.
See for yourself with a free personalised arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Are you thinking al fresco and looking for something simple? Call HV Aluminium.
Looking for something special? Call HV Aluminium.
Looking for something stylish? Call HV Aluminium.
Or looking for something stunning? Call HV Aluminium and find whatever you're looking for.
You're watching NBN News. These are our top local stories. A drug dealer has pleaded guilty to manslaughter, admitting he fatally shot a man at a Newcastle public housing complex in 2021. 38-year-old Michael Ray will be sentenced in June. A second coronial inquest has begun into the death of a 17-year-old boy who was found on train tracks near Tamworth in 1988. Plans are being put in place to save Coffs Harbour's iconic jetty as it nears the end of its life. $30 million in funding is needed to replace the 130-year-old structure. Byron Shire Council has changed its development plan for Brunswick Heads to reduce the impact on wildlife. And Papua New Guinea's first neurosurgeon is training on the Central Coast as part of the PNG Angels program.
The owner of a stolen car that veered dangerously into the path of beachgoers near Tweed Heads has spoken about the frightening ordeal. Liam Gale had just finished surfing when he heard the Toyota's engine start.
Off-road and out of control. A brazen car thief mounting the curb in a Toyota Prado, narrowly missing surfers at D-Bar.
It's concerning that these people conduct this behaviour in broad daylight.
The four-wheel drive's owner, Liam Gale, watching it all unfold in slow motion yesterday afternoon.
I just hear my door and then I hear my car start. It's a distinct sound, and yeah, I turned around and there was this scumbag maggot in my car.
Racing after it.
I tried to rip him out of the car and said some unpleasantries to him, and he drove off up the street.
Roger Grassie's seen in this clip, forced to run for cover in a bid to protect his 2-year-old daughter.
Just in a survival mode to try to save my life and my little one's life. It's super scary, and I'm still shaking just to watch these videos this morning.
Police tracking the car to the Tweed City shopping centre through Liam's iPhone. Dumped minutes after it was taken. The thief is still on the run tonight.
Don't know where he is. I hope they find him.
There's nowhere to hide. That's the message to organised crime networks and outlaw bikie gangs in Sydney, planning to spread their tentacles into northern New South Wales.
Special Police Squad Raptor North is ensuring no one slips under the radar, with 300 arrests and almost 900 charges in its first 12 months.
Jane Goldsmith has been given a rare insight on operations at a dawn raid near Maitland.
Like a bird of prey, the Raptor North squad hunts down its target, swooping in without warning. Specialist police in full tactical gear briefed on the mission. Then it's time to strike.
Boys up here at the door!
This raid at Rutherford tightening the screws on the illegal firearms trade. Raptor North just marked 1 year of permanent operation in the Hunter, dismantling organised crime networks and outlaw motorcycle gangs. The local base decorated with the spoils of war.
If someone leaves Sydney and heads to a regional area, they often come under our radar.
A squad of 30 deployed throughout northern New South Wales to the Queensland border. It's an extension of the Raptor squad, which formed in Sydney in 2009 to focus on bikie gangs. Key to curbing a bloody underworld war unfolding on the streets of the state's capital.
It was identified that there was a need for targeting of organised crime, particularly in the Newcastle, Hunter area.
Often in the early hours, raids and searches like these are putting boots on the ground in the fight against violent crime.
Yes, there is an element of danger, but we use highly trained specialised police to conduct the operations and make them safe.
And it's paying off. So far, Raptor North has notched up 303 arrests, almost 900 charges, and seized $100,000 in cash. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of illegal drugs are also now off the street, and an arsenal of dangerous weapons, including military-style firearms, automatic pistols and revolvers, tasers, illegal knives, and knuckle dusters. Raptor North means there are no safe havens for organised crime, maintaining the pressure on the worst of the worst with the best the force has to offer. Among the major arrests, a man taken into custody and charges laid following a public place shooting in East Maitland in January. Another 3 charged in the Hunter after a 6-month investigation into the alleged supply of prohibited drugs and firearms with links to Sydney organised crime networks. Raptor not only watching, but relentless in hunting its prey.
Eliminate dangers to the community, which the primary dangers are the weapons and also the drugs and the harm that they cause.
Jane Goldsmith, NBN News.
A terrifying sight for passengers with the metal cover on the engine of a Boeing 737-800 peeling away during takeoff. The Southwest Airlines flight was leaving Denver Airport when the cowling dislodged and struck a wing flap. The US Federal Aviation Administration is now investigating in what is the latest in a spate of safety issues for Boeing.
A young girl has outrun a falling crane in the UK by mere seconds. Her panicked parents spotted the danger just in time and called her to safety. The collapse caused significant damage to the house, but no one was injured.
He's crossed 16 countries and covered more than 16,000 kilometres over 352 days, raising more than $1 million for charity. Now, 27-year-old Russ Cook can put his feet up after becoming the first person to run the entire length of Africa. The Brit overcame plenty of hurdles, including being robbed at gunpoint and kidnapped by a tribe wielding machetes. America is in the grip of total eclipse fever as 32 million people prepare for a rare celestial event tomorrow. Stargazers are rushed to stake out spots, hotels are fully booked and flights have tripled in price. The hope now is that Mother Nature cooperates.
It's the rare moment when day turns into night that has eclipse chasers on the move, headed to the path of totality, the 185-kilometre wide band stretching from Mexico's Pacific coast through Texas and the Midwest, right up through New York.
And we are literally over the moon to welcome over 1 million people to our state for this once-in-a-generation moment.
Roughly 32 million Americans will experience total darkness tomorrow, the moon fully blocking the sun for around 4.5 minutes.
It'll be night, birds will chirp, crickets will crick.
Niagara Falls officials expect the biggest visitor day in history, a state of emergency declared in anticipation.
We don't see it as that. We see it as a day of celebration.
Across North America, eclipse glasses are in hot demand. Hotel rooms were booked years in advance. No rental cars left to hire. There won't be another one for 20 years, so some want a permanent reminder.
I gave birth. This should be nothing, right?
In Texas, they're nervous, hoping Mother Nature cooperates.
That is where we have this level 2 out of 5, this likelihood of severe weather.
And in Russellville, Arkansas, 200 couples will seize the moment and tie the knot in the seconds before total darkness.
We're just going to start our life like a big bang.
A wedding overshadowed by a total eclipse of the heart. In the United States, Alison Petrowski, NBN News.
It might be considered controversial for weight loss, but Ozempic is giving Australian doctors hope when it comes to tackling heart disease. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine shows the diabetes drug is likely to reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. Doctors say it could become as common as prescribing statins.
Official figures show a rise in mortgage lending with more than $26 billion flowing from banks in February. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
Higher home prices mean bigger mortgages, and that's what today's data shows. Big mortgages. Most of the $26 billion worth of loans in February went to people upsizing or downsizing. That's owner-occupiers. $9.5 billion went to investors, and just under $5 billion went to first home buyers, and that group is the most active at the moment. Nationally, the average new mortgage across all those groups is $600,000. Looking at the market, the ASX was a little higher. Qantas was the standout though, with its revamped loyalty system and a big share buyback. It had its best day in almost a year and a half. And supermarket shareholders didn't seem too worried about those plans to beef up regulations, but Coles did have a noticeably worse day than Woolies. Finally, the Australian dollar pushed higher, within reach of 66 US cents and edging back towards 61 euro cents.
Telstra has launched a free text service to help customers who will be impacted by the 3G network shutdown at the end of this month. The SMS tool allows people to check whether they need to upgrade their phone to ensure they stay connected. Customers can text 3 to 3498 and receive a text back telling them whether they need to take action.
They say music soothes the savage beast, but this is ridiculous. More than 50 people were preparing to enjoy a high tea at Tamworth Conservatorium over the weekend when a girl spotted a snake practicing his scales on the grand piano.
I'm sitting there with a teapot full of hot tea in my hand, and showed me, and there is a snake, and I'm running across the stage, and the tea is tipping out the end of the spout.
Very dramatic. A member of the public managed to contain the snake before firefighters arrived, but it later gave them the slip, slithering into nearby bushes.
Nice one. I was a bigger fan of Whitesnake personally. Let's move on now to Jack.
Jack, could we see Kalen Ponga change positions again?
We could, but not for the Knights. After the break, what the Newcastle skipper thinks about not being Queensland's #1. Also ahead are the Rabbitohs, about to become the first club to sack a coach this season.
Water and electricity don't mix. I don't know exactly where this EV is going to wind up.
Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid EV. Australia ready.
That went well.
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
All beef
2 all-beef patties,
cheese, 2 all-beef pickles,
Special sauce,
lettuce, cheese. One more time.
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
2 all-beef patties. What was it? 2 all-beef patties,
Special sauce,
lettuce, cheese, pickles,
onions, sesame seed
on a
bun.
sesame seed bun.
Yeah.
Can you say it again?
Did you know almost 1 in 2 Australian adults don't get enough sleep? Turn to Nature's Own Complete Sleep Advanced 90s, just $39.99 at Chemist Warehouse. With naturally derived Ziziphus, it's traditionally used to relieve restless sleep. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
My property portfolio is protected by Terry Shear. I wouldn't trust anyone else.
As a first-time investor, Terry Shear provides the security I need. With Terry Shear, we're more comfortable about our investment property.
Landlord insurance for just $1.50 or less per day. Get a quote, call Terry Shear or go online.
Do you know who's in charge of this local IGA? Not the owner, Mike. It's Bandit. He knows who'll get what he wants. Because there's a place that lends a hand to every local person. Or pup.
Out on the patio, we'd sit, and the humidity we'd breathe. We'd watch the lightning crack
Made by Australia.
Doc, I'm worried my teeth are getting weaker.
Don't worry. Like bones, your teeth lose density over time, but with Oral-B's new enamel densified toothpaste, it rebuilds enamel density to extend the life of teeth. Trust Oral-B for strong teeth for life.
At the Australian Caravan Centre, you'll find your dream caravan, offering brand new, pre-owned, off-road, touring and luxury caravans. Our friendly staff will find a caravan that suits your needs and budget. Australian Caravan Centre, Heatherbrae, Newcastle.
At Coles, free KitchenAid ovenware is back. Spend $20 in one transaction and scan your flybys to earn one ovenware credit. There's popular favourites, plus 3 new pieces to get you cooking. Free KitchenAid ovenware, only at Coles.
Kalyn Ponga claimed the Dally M and led the Knights into the second week of finals in 2023, but it wasn't without its sacrifices. He gave up Queensland's #1 jersey along the way and now might have to play in another position if he wants a Maroons call-up. Back on top of the Dally M leaderboard, the Knights captain is sliding into Origin conversations.
Yeah, it's every game's closer to the Origin.
After making himself unavailable for Queensland last season, Ponga has a fight on his hands to get the #1 jersey back off Reece Walsh, but Maroons coach Billy Slater says he is open to picking both players in the 17.
He's a great coach. I love playing for Queensland, I love playing for him, and whatever decision he makes, I'll support.
Slater was on the field when Ponga made his Origin debut in 2018, the then 20-year-old utility brought on in the middle. You have played a different position in that arena before. Would you be open to that again?
Definitely, yeah.
For now, the Knights skipper is focused on repaying the 10,000 fans who braved the conditions last Friday.
I couldn't believe that we had that many numbers there, and also what they went through, sitting there in the rain, in the cold, but that's Newcastle for you. They're tough and that's what they expect from us.
The Knights will host the Tricolours on Thursday. Ponga will go head-to-head with former roommate Connor Watson.
I hope I get to tackle him or vice versa, because no doubt there'll be some cheek in there.
The pair have barely played against each other due to Watson's season-ending injury last year.
To get back and to be in the form that he is in, he's playing good footy. It's a credit to the type of person that he is.
It appears Jason Demetrio's time as Rabbitohs coach may be coming to an end, with Saturday's disastrous loss to the Warriors close to the final straw. Denny Wilder joins us from the set of 100% footy. Denny, did the coach front up to work today?
Jack, he was there bright and early. He was one of the last to leave. All the players were there as well. And look, there's already talk about potential replacements for Jason Demetrio. South would have to pay him out around $360,000 if he's to leave. And one of the names who's being strongly mentioned is Sam Burgess. But the information I'm getting is Sam Burgess would like to, has another couple of years with Warrington on his contract. And Warrington are quite keen to extend that. And Sam himself, well, he's keen to see out his initial deal with that club. So that could rule him out of the South Sydney situation, which, Jack, will leave the old coach Wayne Bennett right in the prime position to take over at South if Jason's career ends there soon.
A lot to play out. Thank you, Denny. NRL Hall of Famer Keith Barnes has passed away. NRL Hall of Famer Keith Barnes has passed away, the Balmain and Kangaroos legend dying in hospital at the age of 89. Affectionately known as Golden Boots, Barnes was renowned for his goal kicking, the fullback captaining his club and country on multiple occasions during the 1960s. Next, Liverpool slips in the title race. The Reds miss a chance to move back to the top of the Premier League.
You guys have been handpicked to represent Australia, taking on 4 teams from the rest of the world.
Go Aussies!
Imagination and wonder on a global scale.
I did German in Year 9.
You can speak a little bit.
Ja, eine Bitte. Just informal goodbye.
Lego Masters starts Sunday at 7 on 9.
The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. Come, my friends. 'Tis not too late to seek a newer world.
Designs made for relaxed gatherings with matching buffets, entertainment units and more. See the new dining room furniture range now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Classic Rubens. Classic dinners. With Coles Australia no added hormones beef, corn silverside, on special now for just $8 a kilo. Save $3 a kilo. That's great value, hands down at Coles.
Reigning Supercars champion Brodie Kostecki is returning to the grid, announcing he will compete in next weekend's Super 400 in New Zealand. Kostecki hasn't raced this season, but has thanked fans for their support after he took time to prioritise his health. Tottenham is back in the Premier League's top four after beating Nottingham Forest 3-1 to leapfrog Aston Villa and back into first place. The 2-2 draw with Manchester United keeping the Reds in second. Jets coach Rob Stanton admits even he didn't agree with the controversial red card handed to Sydney FC's Robert Mack yesterday. Not that Newcastle is too bothered, the side all smiles after producing a win just when it needed it most. Apostolos Demetolopoulos had scored 14 goals heading into yesterday's game, the skipper's 15th, helping keep his side off the bottom of the table.
In a season of real struggle for the Jets, he has been their shining light.
The 3-1 win has seen the Jets move to 10th, 2 points ahead of the bottom two sides.
It's good for the boys, it's good for, reward for the things we're doing well on the pitch and that, but there's a lot of stuff happening around that's distracting.
Newcastle looked anything but distracted yesterday, running out to an early 2-goal lead.
From Renato Piscopo, lovely return from Steins, this is great football, what a goal from the Jets!
For once, everything went the Jets' way.
Oh, hello.
With Sydney FC reduced to 10 men in the 35th minute.
Fortunately for us, we got it. I don't think it's a red card, personally. I think he just waved his hand away. Rob Mack, if you know Rob Mack, he's not a dirty player.
As for his own player,
it was good, smart. He provoked him.
Having snapped a 9-game winless streak, the Jets now head to Brisbane in search of back-to-back victories for the first time this season, but they could be without Lucas Moragas, who's on the verge of signing with the Mariners.
When he's trained for me, when he's played for me, he's a 100% player. If he's moved on, he probably just wants to change and do something different. No problems. That's football.
The only round 6 matchup in the women's NPL was a high-scoring affair, to say the least. Warners Bay got off to a flying start early, but it was Tanya Jones who slotted in 2 for the Rosebuds to level the scores at 3-3, just 14 minutes in. She then managed to find the back of the net another 3 times. Adamstown going on to win 8-5. The rest of the round's games will be played at a later date. The Maitland Mustangs have bolted out of the gates in the opening rounds of the men's NBL 1 East. They're on top of the ladder after downing the Newcastle Falcons and Inner West Bulls by more than 20 points each.
They were narrowly denied a championship last season, but the Mustangs have already stamped their dominance on this year's competition.
Ooh, that's one way to set the tone.
Maitland guard Will Cranston-Lown, an unstoppable force, posting an impressive 30 points in Saturday's clash with the Falcons.
Will Cranston-Lown, what are you doing, mate? And one!
While Newcastle put up a fight, it wasn't enough. The Mustangs claiming a 109-72 win. Newcastle's women opened their season on a high against the Mustangs. Shakira Riley starred for the Maitland side, slotting in 3 3-pointers.
Shaq Riley for 3. There you go, Shaq.
But it was Nicole Munger's 21-point haul to a 76-63-point win.
1 second shot clock. No. Nicole Munger, just stop it.
Maitland bounced back on Sunday, storming home for a convincing 81-49 victory over the visiting Inner West Bulls, while the men cemented their top-of-the-table spot with another dominant display, downing the Bulls 101-79. Montana Claire, NBN News.
And that's our look at sport.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, thank you so much, Jack. Well, it's been a beautiful start to the week so far. Not going to last for very long, though. There is a cold front on approach. Details straight after the break.
The love of make it stop.
Constantly.
The Express Line to hell. A current affair next.
Best sheds up to 40
40% cheaper. Triple garage is $8,600. 4-car garage, $7,250.
Our 25% off sale is happening right now.
Call their sheds on 1800 15 17 18.
Frankie said she's a fan of impersonation, but not of people impersonating Australia Post. That's why we've made all delivery updates available on the Oz Post app, so she'll know they're from us and us alone. You ask, we deliver at Australia Post.
Looking at these scans and
Smoking causes 16 different types of cancer.
probably talking
Ones that can kill you fast.
See you later, eh? See you, son.
Ones that can leave you almost speechless. Ones that can change how you see yourself. Smoking causes 16 different types of cancer, and you have one clear way to reduce your risk.
It's a place where special moments are made and friends become family. At Cameron Glen, you have the freedom to live independently and still get support and care when you need it. So live each day your way at Cameron Glen.
There are two ways to make a mattress. The cheap way?
One piece, single-sided, with attached pillow top made out of foam.
Yes, Mr. Harvey, they should be 50% off. The best way.
Two-piece, double-sided, removable pillow top with thousands of microcoils and a 5-year comfort promise.
Sorry, Mr. Harvey, we make them, you don't.
The Bellissimo mattress, made like no other mattress. Making mattresses, nobody makes a better mattress. Nobody.
At Coles, our experts go to great lengths for quality. Here, there, everywhere. It's why our Aussie grazed cattle and lamb roam free in open pastures.
Ladies and gentlemen, your grass is served.
And it's why we taste test all our Coles own brand products again.
More chocolate.
And again.
Less chocolate.
And again.
Perfect.
Because when you go to great lengths, you get great quality food. Great lengths for quality. That's Coles.
What a gorgeous start to the week it has been. A lot different to how we ended the week Friday night. That was wild, but it cleared just in time. Now, the moisture on the ground has been producing inland fog and mist. It's a great shot here near Tamworth. And I love this because you can see where the morning sun has hit the fog and mist close to us and burned it off, but where it's still shaded out, it sits there just lingering a little longer. The past 24 hours, the tail of the system was still affecting southeast Queensland and northeastern New South Wales and southeastern New South Wales, but now it's all moved offshore. We've had this lovely little reprieve, this break in between the two weather systems, because that is a good colder outbreak engulfing the southeast tonight. A lot of cold air in behind it, and we'll be feeling the effects of that tomorrow night, about this time, in fact. Olga remaining offshore, just cloud shearing off, moving over the Pilbara coast. Southerly winds switching around to the west-southwest and then really booting in out of the south tomorrow evening. Then a low is going to form, and we've got a monster swell on the way on Wednesday. It is going to be big. The first big swell of the season as the cold air is noticed right throughout the entire southeast, and it looks like the dry season is starting to reveal itself. In the west, it is the summer that never ends for Perth, but cloudy for Adelaide, very chilly right throughout Tassie, Victoria, the capital, and for Sydney town as well after that system moves through tomorrow evening, but glorious across northern New South Wales and southern Queensland, like it was for us today. 25, 27 degrees was felt. Beautiful stuff. Lovely again tomorrow morning's going to be lovely. There's the southwesterly and there's the southerly booting in at the end of the day tomorrow night. You can see when the news kicks in, this whole system will be kicking in around then. Starting at generally fine, some cloud increasing ahead of it, maybe some prefrontal shower, maybe a storm in there as well with so much cold air coming through. Then the wind's kicking in again tomorrow night. So we've got one more comfortable day. It's a beautiful morning, warming nicely towards the mid-20s. Just a cloud shutting down areas to the south of the central coast. So only tops about 23, 24, but generally mid-20s before the cloud moves in and the showers form towards the end of the day. And as I said, don't be surprised if there is a bit of a storm cell there wrapped up in that towards the end of the day. Because that southerly tomorrow evening, you've got a gale force wind warning being issued and the swell is going to rise rapidly in behind it tomorrow night for a monster swell when we get up there on Wednesday. Sun is up at a far better hour, just after 6 o'clock now. The morning high tide is 8:35 tomorrow morning. There's the swell left over. That's what we've currently got, looking pretty nice out of the east with the westerly winds. But then tomorrow night, the wet weather pushes through and then just some patchy showers, mostly for the coast. Cool conditions, colder nights on the way. Then trying to warm back towards the mid-20s as we move towards the weekend, mostly for the Hunter Valley. Lovely weekend for the valley floor. But along the coast, just partly cloudy and a few showers in behind this southerly buster tomorrow night. So checking the surf, wow, we've had some nice waves. It's been a good couple of days, settling down a little bit at the moment. The water temperature is still amazing in. It's going to be another nice morning tomorrow morning, I would say. More leftover swell. You've got the west-southwesterlies with us again. It's autumn. It's that time of the year where the water is warm in, you get the westerly winds and some leftover swell, and just as it fades, a big brand new swell on Wednesday. And in the early hours of tomorrow morning, the first snow of the season will fall on the Alpine District.
Really?
Yes.
It's wild. Thank you, Gav. And that is NBN News. The current affairs up next, and we'll have updates throughout the evening.
So thanks for your company from all of the team.
Good night.
Good night.
Hello, I'm Ali Langdon. Welcome to A Current Affair. You're watching the footy, enjoying a few drinks when the referee makes a call you don't like. Most people might yell at the TV, but this rugby fan went way too far, abusing the ref and his family online. It was vile and landed him in court.
South Africa fulfill their destiny.
We can get behind that anonymity you're hiding behind and we can find you.
How do you feel about being an online troll?
You can't get away with this. This was the game at the Rugby World Cup in France that has a sequel playing out in an Australian court.
And it's Duncan Paia'aua. No try. Lost forward.
Samoa leading in their final group match, only to have a try disallowed and then a player sin-binned, with England coming from behind to snatch a 1-point victory.
And England get the win.
That result sparked this man, Aaron Isaiah, a devout Christian and youth worker in Logan, south of Brisbane, to unleash a torrent of abuse towards a match official via social media.
You got anything you'd like to say to the people that you said those things to?
The New Zealand-born 22-year-old appeared in Beenleigh Magistrates Court today, pleading guilty to using a carriage service to menace or harass.
You probably never thought you'd get charged for something like this, did you?
Oh, no, I knew.
You knew?
Yeah.
Do you realise now how much damage saying this sort of stuff causes to people? The court heard the exact messages Aaron Isaiah sent. They're too disgusting for us to be able to broadcast. But they were sent to the referee and his wife, even mentioning their children.
The court heard he was intoxicated at the time and caught up in the emotion of Samoa losing. Magistrate Shane Elliott told Isaiah that officials around the world in all different sports shouldn't have to put up with abuse, particularly aimed at family members. Taking into account his remorse and clean criminal history, Isaiah was given a $1,000 good behaviour bond for 12 months, with no conviction recorded.
Would you like to apologise to the match official and his family on camera?
No.
The Charges came about after World Rugby bosses decided to monitor social media accounts of match officials and players at last year's World Cup, looking to address online abuse. World Rugby CEO Alan Gilpin.
Of course, this has been about protecting players, match officials, those who are most important in our sport, and making sure that we are doing everything we can to protect them from online hatred.
Gilpin says investigations are also underway in New Zealand, France and South Africa, in addition to the charge brought in Australia.
It's really important to us that a prosecution has been brought. We're delighted, that the Queensland police authorities have been interested in moving that forward.
World Rugby engaged digital experts Signify Group to monitor social media. Signify Group's CEO Jonathan Hirschler says they use an AI-driven system called the Threat Matrix to identify alleged abuse.
Using machine learning, it's able to pick up instances of targeted abuse when they're being directed at a particular athlete, a particular account.
During the World Cup, Signify monitored 1.3 million social media posts targeting players, coaches and match officials, with 54,000 identified as potentially abusive.
Sending abusive messages, threatening, violent messages to players, coaches, match officials, their families, their partners is completely unacceptable.
It's just not acceptable. It's against the law and it should be dealt with in that way.
Former NRL referee Matt Checken knows the toll online abuse takes. His decorated career took in grand finals and Origin games, as well as the introduction of social media.
When I first started my career, there was no such thing as social media, and you might get 1 or 2 news articles a year based on mistakes you may have made. Now, unfortunately, after every game, there's hundreds of comments.
The lowest point in his career came after being targeted with death threats following a World Cup game.
Me getting the death threat was one thing. It was when my son got a death threat, my partner got a death threat, my mum and my sister all got attacked with personal death threats.
We've got to be careful that fans don't always see the referee as the kind of villain in this.
We're the most hated person in the stadium.
World Rugby has even released a documentary called Whistleblowers to help educate the public on the pressure faced by officials.
They target your family, your kids, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It's tough for the kids to wear their dad's bullets.
Alan Gilpin admits the complex nature of rugby's rules make it harder for fans to understand some decisions, but he believes they are now on notice not to resort to abuse.
If you're engaging in that type of abuse of the people involved in our sport, we can get behind that anonymity you're hiding behind, and we can find you and we can pass you on to the relevant authorities, and prosecutions can be brought.
You're an online troll now. What would you say to other people who think that this sort of stuff is okay?
We're human. We try and get it right all the time, but we never do.
Do you know who your kids are talking to online right now? An Australian teenager thought he did, sending messages and racy photos to a teenage girl. But he wasn't talking to a teenage girl. He was talking to scammers in Nigeria who threatened to send those photos to family and friends if he didn't send them $500. Hours later, he took his own life. The latest victim of a sextortion scam targeting children all over the world. Superintendent Matt Kraft joins me in the studio. Superintendent, look, I think to us it's some photos and a couple of $100, but this schoolboy, it was so big he took his own life.
Look, it's so much more for that victim. It had a high emotional impact, particularly on that victim and also to the victim's family. It's prolonged. It's extremely tragic.
I mean, this is a kid who came from a loving home, he had great mates, and he thought he was texting a teenage girl. Can you take us through what happened?
He was tricked. He received some communication from what he thought was a young lady. As that conversation progressed, there was exchanges of photographs, in particular scantily clad photos, bikini shots, and then that progressed into nudes, and he was then subsequently encouraged to do the same.
So he then sends an explicit photo of himself, and that's when the threats start. Give us this money or we're going to send these photos to your family and friends.
Look, the pressure piles on at that point in time. So that's when the scammers know that they have the upper hand, and they are able to exploit this young person. And that's where it's extremely tragic, in that individual didn't really know what they should be doing.
And this poor boy in that moment, how desperate he must have felt.
Look, absolutely. Not understanding what to do, where to go and seek some advice and some help. And then unfortunately we had some extremely tragic consequences.
See, I would think with something like this that kind of grooming it would take weeks or months. But it was 7 hours from when they first made contact to when he ended his life.
In this case, it was a very short duration. This individual was not targeted. It could happen to any individual that has, a communication device.
So hang on, when you say he wasn't targeted, do you mean that they just sort of cast the net wide to see who they would actually hook?
Look, exactly right. They send out, thousands of messages hoping to get a response. And that one person who does respond, they get on the hook and they start that banter, that general banter, to try and befriend them.
How does a case like this affect you?
Look, it does. It has an impact, absolutely. But it's not so much about the police here. It's about the individuals, the victim's family. But what did galvanise us, and it did as a law enforcement agency, said we need to do something about this. This was so tragic. This could happen to anybody. And this young boy thought that he was alone.
Well, this is where it's extraordinary, because your officers in the AFP worked tirelessly to track down the culprits. And I was in Nigeria a few years ago for 60 Minutes on a scammers raid. It is a really big country and this is a massive industry. How did you find these two alleged offenders in a country of 200 million?
Look, it's a joint operation. So you mentioned the Australian Federal Police, they were central to this. The FBI also played a part in this. And credit needs to go to the Nigerian authorities, who were tireless in their efforts to try and locate these people. As you mentioned, they found them in a slum within 25 million people. So we had a few false starts, but finally we got the result where these individuals were identified and arrested. So that's a great result for Australian law enforcement, where we work together.
Well, and I think it also goes to show that this is a problem that's now being taken seriously worldwide, that you'd have so many organisations working together. These two that have been picked up, what will happen to them now? Will they face justice here in Australia?
Look, the process now is that it's subject to a formal Nigerian police investigation. We will provide our information. They'll be prosecuted over there for the crimes that have been committed here against our victim. In addition to that, there are other matters which now the Nigerian authorities have been made aware of, which that information has come from a number of electronic devices that were seized at the time.
So there are potentially other victims that these offenders have targeted at some stage, is what you're saying?
That's what will be alleged, that it's not only our victim in this case, but there's certainly evidence of other offending involving sextortion.
When you look at how wide sextortion is, I mean, in New South Wales alone, there's been an increase of almost 400% in these kind of cases in 18 months. Does that say we are losing the battle?
Look, I don't think it does. What it does represent is a willingness of victims to come forward. So not only are we educating individuals, there's more avenues to report these matters, and victims feel comfortable coming forward.
Okay, but if you're that young kid in that moment and you've handed over photos and that's when you realise you've been scammed, is there anything that the police can do in that moment? I mean, they're demanding money, they've got the photos.
By disengaging, stop communicating, stop sending photographs, and notifying the police, you can start to take back a little bit of control. There is legislation in New South Wales that helps us remove images, from various platforms.
You're an officer of the law, you're also a dad. What kind of conversation should we be having with our kids to ensure they're not the next victim?
Look, I acknowledge these conversations are awkward. They are awkward, but parents need to have them. Sextortion wasn't a thing when I went to school. Parents need to educate themselves about what sextortion is and then have those conversations with their children, monitor their communication devices and ask them the question, what would you do if you were to receive a photograph of a scantily clad young lady? How would you respond?
Despite the commitment from law enforcement all around the world, did you seriously think you were going to see anyone arrested for this?
Look, not at the beginning, because you follow the trail where the evidence takes you, and at times we hit a roadblock, but we persisted, and that's a credit to the staff at the Cybercrime Squad.
Can I ask, how's the family?
Look, the family, it's still raw. They're good people. They've lost their son, and meeting them, it was emotional. But they're very supportive of the idea is that we need to talk to our young people. Parents need to be aware of sextortion, and they need to talk to their sons and daughters about what it is that may occur.
So your message to any person, or particularly a kid who finds themselves in this situation?
Yeah, look, stop communicating with these individuals straight away. Don't pay any sort of money at all, but make sure you go and tell a trusted adult, a family friend, a parent, an adult. You are a victim. And you deserve our support, and there are things that law enforcement or police can do for you. So come forward, we can help you.
Don't suffer in silence.
Absolutely don't suffer in silence.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, Superintendent Matt.
Thank you.
Craft, appreciate it. And if you or someone you know is struggling to cope, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Well, they can't sleep, they can barely hear each other talk, and their kids can't play outside. These families are going loco over screeching trains on their doorstep. It's not just annoying, it's hell, and they say a blunder by bureaucrats is to blame.
Nails down a chalkboard, that kind of noise, constantly.
The screeching is absolutely deafening.
And it happens every few minutes, day and night.
I'm awake all night long with the sound of the screeching.
Caulfield East, a leafy suburb not far from Melbourne's CBD.
We feel it's unlivable.
At Jenny's place, there's no escaping it.
All you can hear is rumble, and the screech of the wheels. It's hard because my child has autism.
Lockie can't bear the noise.
It says turn it off, and I can't do that. Shaking of your house.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Shaking.
It's sending her neighbours off the rails too.
We used to be able to have summers with our front door open, and now we have to close it, and it's almost unbearable sitting on the back deck.
Moya says she's going mad.
I had people over on Friday night and it was literally embarrassing. We had to stop talking. We put our hands over our ears.
Are you worried about the safety? It's now no longer safe for my young kids to ride their bikes on the street, because when I'm out there watching them, once a train's passed, the screeching's so loud that if a car's coming and I want to alert them, they can't hear me.
It stems from the removal of a nearby level crossing. Residents claim bureaucrats told them 400 metres of old track that wasn't meeting safety standards would be replaced as part of the level crossing removal, but that never happened. For the record, the government denies the track isn't compliant. Maybe so, but try telling that to these angry families.
All we're asking for is that they deliver on what they said they were.
And don't get them started on this, all the greenery that was raised by the work trucks.
This was meant to be trees and revegetation, but like everything else, they're just going to walk away from this project and not deliver.
The last thing we want is the government to actually make people's lives a living hell.
Local MP David Southwick, Victoria's Shadow Minister for Transport Infrastructure.
If this was a building site, you'd be straight back to the builder and make good. I mean, most builders wouldn't be able to get away with what the government gets away with.
We bought on a railway line. There's always been noise here, okay? We're not complaining about the noise. I stood in this spot and bought my house across the road on an auction day with trains going in the background. If they were like they were today, I wouldn't have put my hand up.
When we first moved in here, we really didn't notice it at all. And we wouldn't have moved in here because we did come and stand around on the weekends to see what it was like.
Some residents are now considering a one-way ticket out of here unless the government hops on board to help.
The government needs to listen to us because we're actually losing our minds here with lack of sleep. Look at me. Do I look like I've had a good night's sleep? No.
Victoria's level crossing removal project told us
all infrastructure built on our program is compliant with Australian standards, and we will continue to work with Metro Trains Melbourne to reduce noise levels on the track at Caulfield East.
Victoria's Department of Transport says
lubrication of the track was increased and a new track lubricator was installed to reduce noise along this section of track.
We would get concerned if the maximum noise level went above 85 decibels.
We called in William Delmo from Acoustic Compliance Australia to test the sound levels a day after that extra lubrication.
Today we've got levels between about 65 to 75 decibels, which is pretty typical for train noise when the train track is this close to the houses.
Seems the lubrication fix may have worked, but how long will it last before the screeching express is back?
Noise would send anyone mad, wouldn't it? Well, up next, talk about a big day at work. See the moment a retail worker delivers a baby at a servo.
I just coached Mum along and kept her calm, and we had a baby.
Don't you ever doubt it, I'm incomparable. That's why they stare and go. Turn up the stereo, check it out, check it out, check it out.
Are you gambling with your career? Be aware. Visit Gamble Aware for information or confidential support.
In Compton, Western Victoria, you can see stars everywhere, especially the ones that make our very own star, Western Star, more than butter.
Creamy Moccona cafe-style coffee sachets with velvety froth for lovers of coffee.
At Woolworths, we can help you spend less on midweek meals with great weekly specials, like 10% off all Woolworths Australian beef mince, including our lean beef mince 500 grams, now $8 each, save $1. That's today's fresh food people.
There's a safety recall on solar system batteries branded LG, LG Chem, and some Solax products. Affected batteries may overheat and catch fire. Even if you have checked before, please check again.
Extreme hair damage versus 3-minute miracle. Who's going to win? This is Pantene Miracles, and this is how it repairs 3 months of damage in 3 minutes. My hair wins, thanks to the Pro V formula with collagen from new Pantene Miracles.
At Woolworths, we can help you spend less on midweek meals with great weekly specials, like 10% off all Woolworths Australian beef mince, including our lean beef mince 500 grams, now $8 each, save $1. That's today's fresh food people.
Every minute.
Every game. All season long.
If you're an employer, call us for real-time employment and workplace relations advice. As an experienced solicitor and employer, I'm on hand to help you deal with issues quickly so you can focus on your core business. For employment law advice, turn to Turnbull Hill Lawyers.
At the Australian Caravan Centre, you'll find your dream caravan, offering brand new, pre-owned, off-road, touring and luxury caravans. Our friendly staff will find the caravan that suits your needs and budget. Australian Caravan Centre, Heatherbrae, Newcastle.
Great deals on technology now at Harvey Norman. Save $200 on the very helpful Google Pixel 7a, now only $548. Or save $450 on the powerful Google Pixel 8 Pro, now a hot $1248. Get the awesome new Samsung Galaxy A55 for just $699 and receive bonus Galaxy Buds FE. Add to your Samsung ecosystem with an amazing Galaxy Tab S9 Plus or S9 Ultra. Hot prices from just $1298. More great deals at Harvey Norman now.
Go!
Kids, we all know, are unpredictable, but this baby, more than most. He rushed into the world in a servo car park, leaving mum no time to make it to hospital. Luckily, Sharon was there to save the day, the retail worker becoming a makeshift midwife.
And me and ran into the store yelling, we need a towel. Lady's having a baby in the car park.
There might be bargains galore at the Cheapers Chips discount store, but Assistant Manager Sharon Daly says customers usually walk in.
Very surreal, like watching a movie that's touched your heart. And no, it was real life, it really happened.
This is the moment a stranger raced in requesting towels for urgent delivery. Captured on the store's CCTV cameras, that's Sharon reefing supplies off the shelf.
Just grab it, and the gentleman went to run out the front again. No, this way.
The back's quicker.
The back's much quicker, and we bolted.
Rushing out the back door toward two parents in shock who'd parked in this 7-Eleven car park behind the store in Logan, south of Brisbane.
We ran out there and I just coached Mum along and kept her calm, and we had a baby.
This video of Sharon taken by a local security guard minutes after the very sudden delivery 3 days ago.
I wrapped it up in a towel. It was a little bit discoloured. I started rubbing his back and patting his back and got him going, and he started making noise and started moving, and then I put my finger in his mouth and he started sucking. I just kept going until he got more colour because he was purple. I got him going really good. Dad's like, baby okay? I said, baby's good.
The whole ordeal over as quickly as it began.
Once his colour started coming back, that's when I took a bit of a breath and congratulated Mum, and he is okay, Mum, his colour's good, it's all happening, and Mum gave him a feed right then and there before the ambulance got there.
Thinking on her feet, she also used her shoelace to tie off the umbilical cord.
Even though I'd tied it off, I didn't
cut it.
I didn't cut anything, no. Except for her underwear, because once the placenta came out, everything was taken around. So I just got my Stanley knife and rip. And then I pulled the skirt down because there was a taxi driver just gawking, and I was... Anyway,
No way.
Yeah.
You delivered a baby boy or a girl?
A baby boy.
Baby boy, wow.
She says by the time paramedics arrived, there was only one thing left to do.
They looked at Mum, they looked at Bob, said they look wonderful, fantastic, well done, congratulations. Dad, would you like to cut the cord?
And then he did?
And then he did, yeah.
Wow. Sharon was determined to steer clear of the ambulance once it arrived, so didn't get the chance to exchange details, if she does get to see them again.
From Cheapers Chips, we have a cot, a mattress, change table, blankets, more towels, and even a little gifts in a hamper for big sister in the back seat, for Dad, candle for Mum to have a relaxing evening after all of this, and nappies, wipes, everything you need to sort of get started with a baby.
And you'd like to see them again?
I would love to see them again, and really get a nice cuddle with that beautiful little...
She feels so let down, and she feels disappointed and upset.
Plus the maths bombshell, a former drug runner and inmate. One former groom tells all.
The television event.
Let's take a look back on your time in the experiment.
Of the year. A night.
I loved him. So there's hope.
For sure, yeah.
Of unfiltered.
I am falling in love with him.
Honesty.
Everything out of her mouth is a lie. You are the fakest and weakest woman I've ever met in my life.
And one bright, final, devastating.
I don't have anything to say.
Smackdown.
I want to leave.
The unmissable grand finale event. Tonight, 7:30 on 9 and 9 Now.
Like double Sister Club points when you shop the sale. But be quick, sale ends Monday.
A TAFE New South Wales degree will give you A TAFE New South Wales degree will give you a head start in your career. Choose from a variety of courses and graduate with the hands-on practical skills employers want. So make a life-changing move with a TAFE New South Wales degree.
TAFE! Parallel universes might exist, but why would you ever want to leave your Aussie wool quilt for just $99.99? It's special you can buy at the Aldi Winter Bedding Sale this Wednesday. Aldi, good, different.
What are your underarms like? Waxed, natural, unique. Dove Advanced Care. Its improved formula is enriched with caring oil for softer underarms and 48-hour protection. Dove Advanced Care.
So, you want to make an entrance? It's important to move with purpose. Take in your surroundings. Signal your intention. And enter with poise. Because how you arrive leaves a lasting impression. Arrive in the first ever Lexus LBX.
Waiting for a train to pass might cost you a few minutes of your time. But consider what you could lose if you ignore the signals and don't stop.
What's your pitch?
Forget the pitch. You've got an itch.
That itch could be dandruff. Silence it. Head & Shoulders removes up to 100% dandruff and itch. Head & Shoulders.
The world of musicals in concert is back with a brand new production, with an international cast performing all your favourite songs from all the hit musicals in one concert event. The world of musicals in concert is simply not to be missed. Book now. At Woolworths, we can help you spend less on easy dinner sides. With great fresh specials like Australian Kent pumpkin, now $1 a kilo. That's today's fresh food, people.
Well, girls and boys, it's been another very exciting day for our friend Big Dog. Lots of adventure and fun for everyone. But now it's time for Big Dog to say goodnight. Good night, Big Dog. Good night, girls and boys. Sweet dreams.
Tomorrow night, kicked out of class.
The little girl no school wants.
She feels so let down.
Mackenzie's mum says the system's failing her daughter.
And they're failing hundreds of other families.
Plus, Maths bombshell. Which former groom was a jailbird and drug runner? His tell-all.
And we'll have those stories tomorrow. That's our program. I'm Ali Langdon. Thanks for your company and have a great evening.